for entertainment purposes only. And if you want true legal advice, contact your own lawyer.
All right, so Lori Vallow. Okay, we've already laid out. Lori Vallow's married, and she's married to Charles Vallow, and then Chad Daybell's married to Tammy Daybell. Okay.
Yes.
And Charles and Lori Vallow live in Arizona, and Chad Daybell and his wife Tammy live in Idaho.
Yes.
And Chad's a doomsdayer guy, writing all these books, and Lori follows him and likes apparently his books. And Lori, according to divorce documents, when had noted down that she's kind of one of those doomsdayer and believes that God assigns out to carry the work of hundreds. That she's supposed to carry out 144,000 people for Christ's second coming in July. Okay, now we can go in details, but follow me now. Okay, so what happens in Arizona is Lori Vallow's husband supposedly gets in an argument with her brother, whose name is Alexander Cox, and he shoots him and kills him. Okay?
Cox shoots the husband.
The brother shoots the husband and kills him.
Yes.
And they found, basically it's found out it's self-defense. Nothing happens. Alexander Cox goes on his way, and then and at the same time, Lori Vallow still has these two children. Okay. Now, during this time period also, Alexander Cox somehow dies, and her brother dies. This is all happening, near the same time period. And then Lori Vallows, who follows this Chad Daybell, who's married to Tammy Daybell dies, the wife, in Idaho. Within 2 weeks after the death of Tammy Daybell, that's Lori's new husband, they get married within 2 weeks. And then approximately September 2019 is the last time that Lori's children are seen. And that is the 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and her 17-year-old daughter, Tylee Ryan. And they haven't been seen since September. Okay, follow me now. This is what you have to follow. So what happens is they get married, and by the way, Chad had a life insurance policy that he got a bunch of money on, and has some money.
On his former wife's.
Right.
His deceased wife's life.
Right. And what happens is they bury her. It's accidental. There's no issue. And now they're exhuming her because now this is getting.
But he did refuse an order for the autopsy before they buried her. So then they buried her. So
right.
That was interesting.
I got it. So we're following through. Now what happens next is they can't find the children. Right. FYI. Side note. This is Lori Vallow's 5th marriage, by the way. And so there's an order that the grandparents who are of these children,
the paternal
grandparents are saying, look, where are our grandkids? Long story short, there's an order by a judge in Arizona.
I think the order was in Idaho.
Idaho to
produce
the kids. That's right.
Rexburg, Idaho.
Yeah, produce the kids by such and such date. Lori never showed up with the kids. They're in Hawaii, by the way. Chad and Lori. Okay, so now the kids are missing. Everybody's dead around them. These are all allegations, by the way, and nobody can find the kids. So the latest is Lori Vallow this past week has been arrested in Maui, and they're trying to extradite her back to Idaho because she failed what, Todd? This is a criminal issue.
She's being held in contempt.
No, this is actually.
She is being held in contempt of court because she didn't show up on the date appointed to provide proof of the kids.
And stop. So I'm wrong. I meant to point to Denise. She's a family law attorney. What is it? This is an issue a judge can have an order if they feel there's something going on with the children, right?
That's right. And because they had ordered the return of the children and she did not follow that order, then she is in contempt of that order and in contempt of court, potentially. However, the odd part about this is once she's arrested, she is placed on a $5 million bond. And that's excessive. I mean, that is an amount that is just absolutely unheard of. Mostly these bonds are like $2,000 to $20,000.
And why do you think, Denise? I know why. I think, but go ahead.
Because her husband, Mr. Daybell, has money in the bank, $152,000 in the bank, and because when she was in front of the previous court in Idaho, she very next day after she knows of this order, she leaves that jurisdiction. So she's already looking like she's not going to honor orders
She's a flight
anyway.
risk.
She's definitely a flight risk.
Okay, Cal, you said
Okay, a couple of quick things. Number one is in Idaho, there is not a produce the children law. In other words, if, I just talked to a friend of mine who's been covering this story like crazy back there. If the
yeah, he
police,
knows the actual news anchor
Right.
that's handling
yeah,
this story.
Right, Carol Honus is her name. If police show up and they say, we need to see your kids, I don't have to. Now, if the court orders, that's a different story. That's a contempt of court issue, but there's not an order. Secondly, after this, another bizarre twist. When her husband died, the one we were talking about,
Right.
she texted her children. She didn't call them. She didn't tell them about and nothing. She texted them. Oh, by the way, everything's going okay here. By the way, your dad's dead. I mean, it was the strangest
And
thing.
not only strange, but I watched the news footage of her when she showed up. They said, your husband's dead. Her brother is sitting out there on the curb, sitting there on the curb, and he says, your husband dead. She's smiling and laughing and kind
Very
of just
strange thing.
very
Yeah,
strange,
yeah,
odd,
yeah.
Things. Go ahead.
Now, on that issue that Cal just raised about the law enforcement can't, but the court can order.
I think that's my point.
Yes,
Exactly.
and
There's
so
right.
the issue here was she was supposed to show up on January 30th, 2020, pursuant to a court order. The court had ordered her to show up to produce, and it's because she did not appear on January 30th that then there was the contempt of court issue.
Right.
And they found her, what, about 2 weeks later in Hawaii.
Well, and not only that, she said she was claiming, oh, no, the kids are here. The kids are there. And they're calling those people, and they go, no, we haven't seen the kids. Now, here's another interesting
They went
thing.
to grandma's house, right?
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, or whoever's house. Here's the most interesting thing. Someone calls up one of the reporters from Idaho and says, come look at the video footage of the storage locker that Lori Vallow has, and it shows her pulling out these huge totes that they can barely even lift. I know this sounds really bad.
It was not just her; it was her brother and her husband.
and her
too.
husband and the new husband.
Yes.
And these totes are massive, and you can tell they're struggling to lift these totes from the storage locker into different cars. They're loading them. Interesting.
It is fascinating.
And so that's what's going on. The latest is about her being extradited and the bond. And we're going to talk. We're going to follow this. I want to end it here. We're going to follow this next week.
Go to the website, radiolawtalk.com. That's radiolawtalk.com.